Tuesday night, the federal government will, of course, hand down one of the most anticipated budgets in the nation's history. Not so much the red ink that we're looking at here. We know that there will be high debt. There'll be big deficits, of course. It's all well known. But it's the path out of this COVID recession that people will be wanting to see. So the budget is the topic of my Facebook Feedback Friday question tonight. And I asked you, what's the number one thing you want to see in next week's federal budget? Well, Stephen Baird wants to see the government build dams. It's a lot of building. There's other things too, but it's all about building pipeline infrastructure to suit, increase sustainability of our food and water for the nation going forward. Maggie Barnes says pensions, disability and old age, those who can't or no longer have the ability to work and really struggling to make ends meet. Sharon Figueredo wants new coal-fired power stations fully funded for this new financial year, with construction starting 2023 and significant funding for new nuclear power stations to start construction by 2026. John Warner is calling for lower taxes for Middle Australia, more infrastructure, initiatives for local manufacturing, cut foreign aid. Mike Ross wants tax holidays to encourage the transfer of manufacturing from China back to Australia. Well, hear to all of that. My good friend and 2GB radio broadcaster Luke Grant joins me now from Sydney. Well, I did ask for one thing. Most people had a number of things, but it shows you, that Australians are pretty focused and optimistic about the future, but they want to see really tangible things, don't they? Like tangible, real things from government.
Yeah, they want to see things happen now, I think, Peter. I think that's the point. We hear, don't we, all about these so-called shovel-ready projects, and 2 or 3 years later, there doesn't appear to be much change. And I think the Labor Party might have hit a nerve with lots of people on the government being big on announcement, not so big on delivery. So whatever happens, whatever they announce, and I hope they announce plenty of new building, I hope they don't add too much to the regular expenditure. So good, strong one-off buildings would be terrific, dams, those sort of things. But they've got to actually make sure they happen quickly. People want to see us come out of this and get back into the game again. And I love the idea of trying to entice business to Australia, manufacturing to Australia. By God, if Morrison could do that, he'll be a national hero.
All right, I just want to say to my viewers, tomorrow night, next week on Tuesday night, budget night, there'll be an extra special edition of Credlin. We'll go for 90 minutes to 6, right up to 7:30 when the Treasurer gets on his feet. You will not want to miss that. I want to go to this continuing border farce with Queensland and New South Wales. So the Queensland Premier announces today the border's going to stay shut to anyone from New South Wales outside that very sort of northern border bubble. So they won't be able to go, New South Wales people, into Queensland until the 1st of November. Let's have a listen.
Their health experts are also concerned about some undetected community transmission at the moment. They're about to go into school holidays. So we will be watching that space very carefully, and Dr Young will be watching that space very carefully.
So lordy, lady, I tell you, every time look,
Dr Young will be watching.
She's saying November 1. This is it's so transparent. Their election's on the Saturday. She's opening the border on the Sunday. She thinks that New South Welshmen, all of you, have got a pox on your houses. But over in New Zealand, and you know how seriously they take COVID, well, they're happy to have New Zealand and New South Wales open up a border bubble on the 16th of October in 2 weeks' time. Look, this is all about the election, isn't it?
It is. It's a complete farce. So what happened with Canberra, Canberrans could fly to Brisbane after not 28 days or 29 days or 30 days or 31 days. It was 60-something days. I don't think there's been an infection in Canberra for 84 days, and only a week back she said, fly into Brisbane, Canberra, we love you. It's a joke. And all this is going on while we've got this sports rorts affair, Peter. You'll remember, most people will, Mick Young, who had it in his ministry over a Paddington bear in a suitcase, he forgot to declare, and the Liberal Minister, Michael, I forget his name momentarily, brought in a TV that was colour, not black and white, filled out the form incorrectly, lost his ministry. It is rank. The government there is a joke. They're doing everything they can. Screw local business. We've got to keep, in case there's an outbreak and you won't vote for us, we'll just keep the joint locked down. It's appalling, Peter.
And you do make the point. He took the number of allocations, I think it was like 44 on the Labor side % of this sports money, and about 56, 57 on the other side to non-government electorates. And there's obviously some Green electorates in there as well. But basically took it from about half and half, government, non-government seats, right up to 68%, almost 3/4 of the money going into Labor-held seats. Now, I know he's a union operator, ex-union operator, obviously now a minister. How does he keep his job?
Well, how does he keep his job? I mean, is that the best they've got? People like him? What about the Deputy Premier, so-called doctor? I actually went looking. I wonder what he was a doctor of. Is he a dentist? Is he a
you mean my good friend Stephen Miles, the guy that looks like a Ken doll? I mean, he is. How silly is he?
What?
How silly is he?
I saw Paul mention earlier that he's tweeted to Donald Trump, try injecting some disinfectant. I mean, these are meant to be leaders. These are meant to be, almost some kind of example for the rest of the community to follow. They're a joke. And the people of Queensland, in my humble view, have been played here. I don't know if they've all woken up to the fact or if they accept the fact, but wow. Politics writ large here, it's terrible.
So good to see you, mate. I listen to you most weekends. It was lovely to have you on the camera.
Yeah, well, it's nice to talk to you. In fact, I'm doing the next 3 weeks of weeknights. So I expect I'll be there in the early hours of the morning with you, Peter.
Lovely. I love it. I love listening to you,
Brian.
Grant. Thank you.
Good on you.
Yeah,
See ya.
absolutely. Thanks, Luke.